Oh, what's good, gamer? Since you're here, that means you're wondering how to efficiently level your farming on your Ironman. Because we're Ironmen and it's harder for us to get specific seeds, there isn't going to be much of me telling you exactly what to plant and in what order. So let's get started. The early levels are the worst, so you're going to want to skip them as much as possible as well. To do so, you can do the following quests to get a total of 27,500 XP, and this should get you to level 37 right off the bat if you're just starting out. The Goblin General subquest of Recipe for Disaster, Fairy Tale 1 Growing Pains, Forgettable Tale, the Garden of Death, Garden of Tranquility, and Enlightened Journey. Completing Fairy Tale 1 and the Goblin General subquest gives enough experience to reach level 20 farming, and Garden of Death gives enough experience to get from level 20 to level 30 farming. Once you've gotten the early levels from the quests, I would recommend the Tithe Farm minigame to 62 farming. At 62 farming, you'll be able to buy garden pies from the Cooking Guild in Varrock to boost your farming level to 65, allowing you to enter the farming guild. Tithe farming is pretty ideal because of how tedious it is to get seeds at the early levels, and the minigame is located at Hosidius in Korend. The minigame revolves around planting special seeds into farming patches, tending them until harvest, and depositing the crops into sacks in order to get points. You'll want to use the points for the herb sack, which lets you store grimy herbs inside, the seed box, which is great quality of life when thieving master farmers, auto weed, which is fantastic quality of life since you'll never need a rake again after raking a patch once, and optionally the farming hat, which is needed for clue scrolls if you'd like to stay longer. For 62 to 99 farming, it's finally time to focus on farming contracts in the farming guild, which is west of Korend, and tree runs. You can also start doing herb runs, but the vast majority of your farming XP will be coming from tree runs. You should be doing farming contracts as often as you can. Farming contracts are assigned by Guildmaster Jane, which requires you to grow certain crops within the guild in exchange for seed books. And you should always start off with receiving the highest tier assignment you can, and then downgrading the contract if it's something you don't have pre-planted and takes longer than a bush patch, which takes around 2 hours and 40 minutes to grow. You want to pre-plant the most commonly assigned contracts since there's an equal chance of every assignment. Your pre-plants are usually tasks that are shared across multiple difficulty tables. This just lets you instantly complete multiple contracts in a row. And here's what you should have pre-planted for the medium contracts. At 82 farming, you'll be able to use garden pies for hard contracts, and here is what you should have pre-planted as well. So farming runs need way more preparation on an Ironman since we have to make our own compost. You'll want to use ultra compost whenever possible, and to do so, you'll need 3 things: volcanic ash, buckets, and super compost ingredients. Get yourself a pickaxe and go to this area of Fossil Island right next to the volcano. Volcanic ash nodes will be all around it. Depending on your mining level, you can get about 3,000 ash an hour. And when it comes to the buckets, you can purchase bucket packs from Alana inside of the farming guild, since you'll be there anyway. For the super compost ingredients, only use watermelons or snapegrass you have farmed, or pineapples purchased from charter ships. If you're just starting out, you might want to save your snapegrass earlier for prayer pots and use the other 2 options first, but later on you're left with way more snapegrass than you can ever use if you do your farming contracts consistently. Use watermelons if you can farm them in allotment patches, which you may or may not have the seeds for. You can get seeds from Wintertot, Slayer Drops, or Thieving Master Farmers. If you don't have seeds or the level, then just buy pineapples from the charter ship people, because Fishing Trawler is the closest one to a bank. The only compost bin you should be using is the one inside of the farming guild. This gives you 30 compost, which every other bin in the game is half the size. Using the compost bin is the first thing you should be doing before every farming run, and this is because it'll force you to go into the farming guild and check on your contracts. Inside of the farming guild, you should also kill the mid-level boss Hespori. The boss has a chance to drop the bottomless compost bucket, which doubles the amount of compost you get and saves a lot of time when doing farm runs due to the inventory management. When you get the bottomless bucket, you can use your existing ultra compost you've created on it. Before every farming run, if you're high enough level, your inventory should consist of teleport runes, volcanic ash or buckets of compost, a spade, magic secateurs, and a seed dibbler. If you haven't done barbarian farming yet, a Xerix talisman, and an explorer's ring. Now onto the actual tree runs. I 100% recommend using the default time tracking plugin on RuneLite to keep track of your crops and their locations. For the regular trees, Falador, and you can get there using the Ring of Wealth, followed by the Falador teleport, the Tree Gnome Stronghold, which you can get there using the Slayer Ring, then the Spirit Tree, Varrock, the Varrock teleport, Lumbridge using the Lumbridge teleport, Taverley House Tab, Castle Wars Balloon, or a Falador teleport, and the Farming Guild, which you can get there using the Farming Cape, Skills Necklace, or a Spirit Tree. When it comes to the fruit trees, these are all of the locations: the Tree Gnome Village and the Stronghold, which you can get there using the Slayer Ring and the Spirit Tree. Brimhaven, you can get there using a House Tab, or you can just charter to Brimhaven. Catherby, you can get there using the Catherby teleport or the Camelot teleport. Letya, the best way to get there is really just using a teleport crystal, and again, the Farming Guild. For the Hardwood Trees, there's one located on Fossil Island, and you can get there using a dig site pendant, and the other one is located southeast of the AJP Fairy Ring location, or just called the Avium Savannah in Varlamore. You can also choose to plant Calquats, and the Calquat location is in Karamja, which you can get there using a Taibo Wanai teleport, or just use the Brimhaven House portal. Now onto herb runs. For herb runs, if you're lower level, you're not going to have access to all of the teleports for the optimal herb run that I'm going to be telling you later, so I've decided to include this low level herb run route. Herb runs are required to level up your herb lore, but aren't really required if you're just focused solely on farming by itself. But if you plan to do any kind of PVM, you should definitely be doing them. For the herb patches, you should do them in the following order. They're staggered in this way to allow you to clean herbs as you run. So you want to start at the Farming Guild, and another way to get there is using the Fairy Ring CIR, because you're not going to have a farming cape at this point. Be sure to make compost and do the herb patch and any contracts while you're there. Then go to Ardwayne, and you can get there using the Ardy Cloak 2, which will give you 3 teleports per day, or just the normal Ardy teleport. Then just run east, then north, go to Catherby, get there using the Camelot teleport, then Falador, and get there using the Explorer's Ring 2, which will also give you 3 teleports per day, or the normal Falador teleport, then just run south. Next up, you're going to want to go to Korend. Use the Xerix talisman and just teleport to the Glades location, or use your POH teleport, but don't bother doing this without a Xerix talisman, or if you don't want to have your POH there. Last up is Mauritania, and the best way to get there is just using an ectophile. If you are doing this low-level herb run, the patches you shouldn't or can't do would be the Harmony Island patch, which you need the Mori Elite Diary for, the Troll Stronghold patch. This is because it's a relatively long run to get to this patch until you've done My Arms Big Adventure, which requires 73 agility, as well as the Hard Fermi Diary, but it's a protected patch, so it's more worth doing if you have used all of your daily teleports for the Ardy and Falador Cape and the Explorer's Ring. Also, after making friends with My Arm, you're able to set up a teleport in your POH, which lands right next to the patch, making this even faster. And then there's the Ways teleport, which requires making friends with my arm. And now it's time for the optimal herb run. It's by far the most efficient herb route that you're going to want to shoot for. And with their teleport would be Ardwayne. Then you're going to want to go to Catherby, then Falador, Harmony Island, Korend, Mauritania, the Troll Stronghold, Wace, Farming Guild, and lastly, Fortis. For some bonus tips, during your herb run specifically, I recommend planting and harvesting whiteberries and potato cactus. This is because if you ever plan to shoot for 99 herb lore, you're going to need around 6.3 thousand whiteberries and 5.5 thousand potato cactus. And the Farming Guild boss, Hespori, it drops anima seeds. These seeds give different effects for your patches. Chrono seeds will make your patches skip growth cycles, making them grow way faster. Ayaser lowers the chance of disease, and Addis gives you increased yield on your herbs. In terms of priority, I believe Addis seeds are the best, followed by Ayaser, then Chronos. There's also a seed vault in the Farming Guild where you can store the seeds you don't use very often. On an Ironman, protecting patches are usually never worth it, just because of the time it takes to get the items required. Some additional ways to get seeds would be Wintertot, Slayer, Master Farmers, and my favorite, which I've recommended tons in my other videos, are birdhouses at Fossil Island. Basically, the TLDR, the key to leveling farming on an Ironman efficiently is to do as many farming contracts as possible and your tree runs, and really just staying consistent with them. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more Ironman content.